Hello. On this edition of Commuter Connections, we'll introduce you to the real-time transit app, which is now available to assist you in your bus travel. We'll look at how M.MTA is working to improve your light rail link experience. You'll meet the M.MTA Police Officer of the Year, and we've got your best ride to the Maryland State Fair, all on this edition of Commuter Connections. In an effort to improve your transit experience, M.MTA recently launched a real-time transit app, which displays the location of the bus you intend to catch. It's a service that's making a difference for bus commuters throughout the region. M.MTA Chief Innovation Officer Mike Helter joins us with a look at this new app. So welcome to the show.
Thanks, Sandy.
So what is the real-time transit app?
The real-time transit app is an application that when you download it and you put it on your phone, upon opening it, it'll sense geographically where you're standing, and it'll display all the routes that are within a few blocks of you and tell you when the buses on those routes will be arriving. You can also plan a trip on it. You can also create favorites for certain routes that you ride often. You can plan trips. There's just a variety of different things you can do on it.
It includes the location arrival information for all M.MTA buses?
Yeah, we installed GPS trackers on all 750 of our bus system. Every single bus has it on there, so all the buses should be showing up and tracking and providing a predicted arrival time.
Okay, and when did M.MTA actually launch the transit app?
It was Tuesday, June 19th is when we launched it, and we've been testing it for about 3 or 4 months before then, making sure that it's working as it should and working out all the kinks out on the streets.
Okay, so it's been out there for a little while. Mm-hmm. What's been reaction from customers?
Generally positive. Knowing when your bus is going to come gives you 5 or 10 minutes back on every single trip that you take. If it's raining, if it's snowing, if it's cold out, you don't have to stand outside for 15 minutes waiting for your bus. You can walk up to the stop and get on. So generally the response has been very positive. People are really liking it.
So walk us, I know you touched on it a little bit, but kind of walk us through the process of actually accessing the app and using it to plan your trip.
Yeah, so the app's available on the Apple Store, on the Google Store. It's a free app. It doesn't cost anything to download. It's a relatively small application, so it won't take up a ton of space on your phone. But you can go to either one of those 2 stores, download it, installs pretty quick. There's just a few steps, and you're good to go. When you open up the app, it automatically locates where you are and starts displaying all of the routes that are within a few blocks of where you're standing, and lets you know when those buses are going to show up.
So are you able to download the transit app on an Android or an iPhone device? Okay. So how did the whole idea of, doing the location arrival transit app, how did that come about?
Over the past few years, the ability to provide real-time location for your vehicles in the industry has begun to become a popular one. The idea was we need to give our customers much better information. We need to allow them to feel that our system is more reliable, and part of that's information. And so we installed GPS trackers on all the buses. We worked with a company to help us to really create a really good real-time feed and locational information, and then worked with the transit app, to display that in a very user-friendly and easy-to-use way.
So how long did it actually take to kind of fine-tune the app where it was ready for prime time?
So we finished installing in February of this year, and about 3 or 4 months of QA/QC, did a lot of on-the-street observations, observing when the buses were showing up, if they were reading, working out a bunch of different issues that we had on our operations side, making sure our back-end systems were feeding into the feed properly to make it as strong as it can be.
What would you say probably is the biggest benefit of the transit app as far as improving customer service?
I think the biggest benefit is allowing people to live on their time instead of ours. Giving back a portion of people's days back to them, which I think is incredibly valuable. Is
there any charge if you're loading the app on your phone? Is there a charge to do so?
No, it's a completely free download. Like I mentioned before, it's a relatively small download. It doesn't take up too much space on your phone. If you don't want to download the app, you can still text in using MTA-MD, the bus stop number. You can still call into 410-539-5000. That's still pulling the same data that the transit app is getting, so you can go through those methods as well if you're not comfortable with apps or if you don't have space on your phone.
That's good, so you have options for your customers. Yeah. Do you find that many transit agencies around the country are using transit or the real-time tracking on their buses as well?
The majority of systems right now are using real-time tracking in one form or another. The transit app itself is actually available in 125 different cities around the country. So if you download the app, you can actually use it in most other cities you go to, which is really nice. You don't have to download another app and another app depending on where you're going. But our frequency of vehicle position updating every 10 seconds, there are not many in the entire country in the industry that are reporting at that high of a frequency. And so we have one of the best systems here in Baltimore, and it's something to really be proud of.
That's awesome. So if people want more information, on MDOT/MTA's transit services, to get more information about the partnership now with transit for the transit app, where can they go? On
our homepage, mta.maryland.gov/transit. We'll take you there. We also have some banners on our homepage. If you don't want to type all that in, just go to our page and you'll see some advertisements for it. Click on there and it'll take you.
Well, I'm looking forward to trying out the transit app. And Mike, thanks so much for coming on and talking with us.
No problem. Glad to be here.
Coming up next, a look at exciting improvements being made to Light Rail Link. Stay with us.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
MDOT/MTA is dedicated to making your transit experience a good one during your ride on transit. In that effort, Light Rail Link rail cars are being totally overhauled to make the old rail cars look like new again. MDOT/MTA Chief of Equipment Engineering Dave Wilson joined us at our North Avenue Light Rail Link yard to talk about this exciting Light Rail Link midlife overhaul project. Hi Dave, so when did the Light Rail Link midlife overhaul project begin?
Hi Sandy. The midlife overhaul, light rail overhaul, began in September of 2013 is when the project was awarded to a company in upstate New York.
Why is this project necessary?
Well, the project is necessary to get this car to the end of its useful life, which is 30 years plus. Also that the car has obsolescence of some of its components. We can no longer procure some of these components. And technology has advanced to where new technologies are being used, and the car will become more reliable and really a more efficient car than the OEM car, the original manufacturer's car.
So what are some of the upgrades that will be included in the Light Rail Link overhaul?
Well, one of the first upgrades, the most significant, is the propulsion system. That system had to be upgraded. The parts that were used to generate the AC propulsion have become obsolete and are no longer available. So we've upgraded that system, so that's a completely new system. We've also upgraded, well not just upgraded, but we've replaced the entire flooring of the car itself. The door system is all a brand new door system. That was an electric pneumatic system. Now it's all electric, so that's a brand new door system. The brake system has been upgraded significantly. It's much more intelligent. There's a wheel slide protection, a smart sanding system that in case of any slip and slides of the vehicle, the sanding will initiate automatically to prevent those actions from happening.
So it sounds like it's significant. Exactly how large is this overhaul project?
As overhauls go that the MTA has done, 65% of this car is relatively new. from, like I said, the HVAC, the brake system, the flooring, the train control system has been significantly upgraded. So that's a brand new system. We also upgraded our automatic train protection system to make it even better than it was before with the original car.
Will the work be done in-house or will it be sent to an outside firm?
Good question. The project will be, we'll have these vehicles actually shipped up to upstate New York. They're going to be loaded onto a flatbed tractor trailer and delivered up to upstate New York. The project is so significant that these cars are going to be completely stripped down to just their car shells. Everything in the interior is going to be either overhauled or replaced. So our facility is not large enough to accomplish that task.
And how long will the project actually take?
We're expecting this project to be completed, all 53 light rail vehicles overhauled in FY22, in fiscal year 22.
At what stage of the project are you now?
We're currently in the stage where we've conditionally accepted 3 prototype vehicles. We have them in revenue service. We have 5 additional vehicles in the overhaul process. By the end of July, we're expecting the shipment of our 5th vehicle down to Baltimore from upstate New York.
How will these upgrades improve customer service?
Oh, the upgrades will significantly improve customer service. Just by the interior of the car itself, we're going to have a more vibrant car with better lighting, with LED lighting, more passenger information, more interaction with our automatic announcement systems for our passengers. So it's going to be more interaction with our passengers. We're going to have, like I said, increased reliability of the car. I think that in itself is going to be really increasing our customer service.
What might Light Rail Link customers notice most while the overhaul is underway?
It's going to be a more vibrant car. It's going to be a cleaner car, obviously, more reliability. I guess outwardly it would be the light bar arrays that are going to be moving around the car. These light bars will be activating whenever the car approaches a station or comes to a grade crossing. And these are enhanced safety features to make the public aware that the train's approaching a crossing or a station and to be on alert as the train comes into the station.
And what is the cost of the project?
Well, the cost of the project is $150.5 million. So if we kind of draw that out, it's about $2.8 million per car. It's a lot cheaper than what it would be if we bought brand new cars, which we can't do at this point. Like I said, $2.8 million, $150.5 million per vehicle for the overhaul, and that's for all 53 cars to be overhauled.
I know MDOT/MTA is always concerned about safety and keeping customers first. You talked a little bit about some of the safety features. Tell us about some of the other new features, safety features on the overhauled vehicles.
I guess one of the first things they'll notice as they enter the car is going to be the additional cameras. We've added up to 20 additional cameras on the light rail vehicle.
So Dave, thanks again for your time today and good luck with the Light Rail Midlife Overhaul project.
Oh, you're welcome, Cindy. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Just ahead, we'll introduce you to the MDOT/MTA Police Officer of the Year. Stay with us.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
MDOT/MTA police remain dedicated to keeping transit safe throughout our region. All MDOT/MTA police officers work hard in that mission each and every day. One of the very best of those officers were recently awarded the distinction of Police Officer of the Year. He's Officer Antoine Stevens, and he joins us here on Commuter Connections. Welcome to the show, Officer Stevens.
Appreciate you having me.
So, when were you actually awarded the distinction of Police Officer of the Year?
I was awarded the honors on May 31st, 2018.
Now, did you expect this or did it come as a surprise?
It was a great surprise. It came unexpectedly and it threw me off for a second. It was a lot to take in, but I was grateful for the moment.
So tell us, how do they go about selecting the Officer of the Year? Like, what's the criteria for being chosen?
Well, the criteria on being chosen is the chain of command, the head supervisors. They look at the officer's stats throughout the year and the officer's overall production and the way that the officer carried themselves throughout the year, and that's how they pick the officer.
How does it feel? I mean, now that you've been awarded this honor, how does it feel to be the
Officer of the Year? It feels great because not everybody receives the award. You know, it's people that worked the job or the career for 25 to 30 years, and they never awarded the opportunity. So it's an elite group of officers that we have that's been Officer of the Year in the past, and I'm great to join the group.
So what do you receive as Officer of the Year?
Some of the things you receive as Officer of the Year is you awarded the honors in front of your peers and your family. You receive a signed plaque, signed from the Chief Gavrilis, and I received a pin, an honor pin honoring my my greatness for 2017, and I received a tactical bag for all my equipment, so I go out for my tour duty.
So how long have you actually been a police officer?
I've been a police officer at MTA for approximately 7 years.
Okay, so for a little while, yeah. And what made you decide that you wanted to go into law enforcement?
Some of the things that made me realize I wanted to go in law enforcement, I love the everyday thrill, like you're never going to know what's coming every day, and I like helping people solve their problems, and I like making the society a better place.
Well, I'm sure you have your hands full out and
I do.
about. And, you know, is the job what you thought it would be?
No, it's not. It's a lot of responsibility, a lot of preparation. It's not a career where you can turn off and on. It takes a lot of support from your family, your friends, and society to, you know, make a police officer be the best that they can be. So it's a lot.
I can imagine that it is. So how long do you see yourself in law enforcement? Like, are you looking to sort of climb the ranks through the MDOT police force?
Yes, I'm looking to climb the ranks, and I'm looking to retire 25 years, and then after 25 years you go into the drop program, and I plan to do that. So altogether 30 years I plan it.
And you look so young, and you're already talking about retirement, huh? Now, for those who might be watching our show and might be interested in law enforcement or joining the MDOT police force, where can they go for information? What are some things that they may need to do? Like, what advice would you even give them?
The advice I can give them is you have to prepare for the job mentally and physically, and it's more of a career, so you can't just go on and think it's you know, it's going to be something that you're going to bounce around. And you have to realize, even if you're hired, you know, the job is not for everybody. It takes a special individual to pursue the career. And if you're hired here, you receive some of the elite training to prepare you to be a great officer.
Wonderful. And what would you say are the characteristics of a good police officer?
Somebody that's honest, brave, has the integrity, the dignity to provide greatness for the society, and a great role model citizen to everybody that the officer serves.
Well, Officer Stevens, congratulations again on your honors. And thank you so much for joining us on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
It takes many talents, skills, and disciplines to keep transit moving throughout the state. Many of these talented and skilled employees you never see as they're behind the scenes, like the dedicated employees of the MDOT MTA paint shop. You see their work sported on transit vehicles all the time. Today, we take you behind the scenes at our Washington Boulevard bus facility where they work.
Tucked away in a corner of Bush Bus Division on Washington Boulevard, a little shop has a long history of doing great work.
You see, we have pictures of an old streetcar that came in here for refurbish for the museum. We've had several buses, old style 10,000s and 900s that went to also for the museum. Some of it was done on our time, no pay, volunteer time.
From streetcar restoration to 21st century security vehicles, MDOT MTA's paint and body crew get the job done.
couldn't be prouder of the guys working there over in the paint shop. We get thank you letters all the time from folks for the great work that they do.
The crew provides services for a variety of agencies around the state.
We paint for a little bit of everybody, not just MTA, MDOT. We painted several vehicles, a Hummer for Maryland State Police and 2 buses for MSP, Maryland State Police. And right now we're working on a motorcycle for Transit Police. Well, the rider of this particular motorcycle had a little mishap. The front fairing, I had to remove it and do a little bit of body work and repaint it. Tomorrow, when the paint is cured on the front fairing, we'll put the decals on it and reassemble it on the front of the bike, and he should be picking it up.
But the bread and butter work for the body and paint crew is taking care of MDOT MTA's fleet of 753 buses.
Vaughn Jackson, a repairman. We have a 1700 series coach in the back. Started doing a little paint work, left front. Tape it up. Wipe it down, sand, and start getting your initial preparation together. Put your primer on, let it set for a while, then we shoot her up. It gets 2 coats. Basically mix a little paint, 6-to-1 process, using your hardener and activator. What you're hearing in the background is the blowers, which cures the paint process. Because you pretty much know you've done everything right, and you just hope to get a good paint job out of it,
As the accolades continue to pile up for the body and paint group, many agencies around the state can vouch for the good paint job done at MDOT MTA.
Coming up next, MDOT MTA has your best ride to the Maryland State Fair. Stay with us.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
One of the most popular annual events in our region is the Maryland State Fair. Thousands of people attend the event each year. With so many converging on the fair for all the family fun and activities it offers, how will you get there? MDOT MTA Director of Light Rail Link Operations, Tim Tyron, joins us with information on the best way to the State Fair. Welcome to Commuter Connections.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you. So tell us, when is the Maryland State Fair this year?
It's August 23rd through September 3rd. It's an 11-day event and it's coming up quick.
Oh, it is. That's right around the corner. So what is the fair like for those who may not have had an opportunity to attend?
Well, imagine like you go to your small town fair where you have just a carnival with a bunch of rides for the kids and you have games. This is on a much grander scale. We have petting zoos, we have concerts, and we have some of the best food you can get in Maryland, from crab cakes to funnel cakes. There's a lot of 4-H events, so I encourage everyone to come out and just expect a lot of people, but a lot of fun.
Oh, that sounds like it's going to be a ball, and it usually is every year. So how does MDOT MTA prepare for getting the public to the Maryland State Fair?
Well, like I said, there's going to be big crowds, and we're planning right now to handle those big crowds. We're getting all our departments together throughout the entire MTA, and we're coming up with our action plans. And what we're going to do is we're all going to talk and say, what do we need to ensure the safety and security of all our passengers, our riders? So I'm going to make sure that we have extra staffing on site. I'm going to make sure that we have extra cars ready in case something goes wrong. And you're just going to see a lot of people working behind the scenes and on scene to help you have an enjoyable time.
So when you have so many hands on deck, roughly how many people are you talking are actually involved in the planning and preparation for the fair?
We have 200 people in the light rail division, and most of those people, including myself, will be working extra hours during this event to make sure that we're ready for the extra crowds.
And with the event of this size, how far in advance do you start planning?
I look at every event as something we need to start planning about a month before.
Okay.
Now things do change, and we always have Plan B ready. So we look at the situation that we're about to do, and we say, what could possibly go wrong, and how do we try to prevent that? Now, we can't prevent Mother Nature from giving us bad weather, but we can be ready if we have bad weather forecasted to just have those Plan B in place and ready to go.
What would you say is probably the best way to get out to the Maryland State Fair?
On my light rail.
All right.
I want everyone to take the light rail system, because do you really want to have to go hunt for that parking spot? What you want to do is you want to get on a light rail station where there's free parking, by the way. And let me also say, it's only $4 for a day pass on light rail. You can't beat that. Free parking at the light rail stations and only $4 to get to the fair. So I encourage everyone to go to mta.maryland.gov, look at the ways that you could possibly get to the state fair, but I want you to try my light rail system.
Okay. And will you be running special service while the fair is in town?
It's normal service hours.
Okay.
And if you look at our weekday service, it starts early. It starts at about 4 a.m. and goes to 1 a.m. And on Saturday, early again, we start at 5 a.m. and also go to 1 a.m. Now on Sundays, we start a little bit later. We start at about 10 o'clock and we end kind of early, about 9:30. But we're definitely going to have extra cars and extra people on staff, on site, helping everybody get there safely.
Okay, so they should be taking light rail link service to the Timonium Fairgrounds for the Maryland State Fair.
Yes.
And tell us again, for people who want more information on MDOT-MTA's transit services, where can they go?
We have some great social media sites at MTA. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have a whole bunch of ways to get in touch with us. But the best way, I think, is actually go to the website, mta.maryland.gov. And from there, you can look at all your transit options on getting to the state fair. But I hope you choose mine, light rail.
Okay, sounds good. And I guess if people want to get information on the state fair as well, where is that information available?
There's a website. It's easy to remember, marylandstatefair.com. And you can read about the history of the state fair, and you can also find the events that you want to attend and create an itinerary. So if you start at our website, mta.maryland.gov, you can plan your trip on how to get there. And then once you get there, if you go to marylandstatefair.com, plan the events that you want to see. So when you get off the light rail train and you walk 2 minutes to the state fair, you know exactly what you're going to do, and you're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's going to be a wonderful day. And I know the state fair has been around for a long time now.
Yeah, almost 140 years.
Wow.
Started in 1878.
Can you believe it? That's a long time.
Do you know the original name of the Maryland State Fair?
I don't.
The Lutherville Fair.
Oh, okay. So they changed it to the Maryland State Fair.
The next year, 1879.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there's some trivia for you.
Okay. Well, Tim, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully I'll see you out at the state fair.
Yeah, look for me on the light rail trains.
I will. That's how I'll get there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That brings us to the end of another edition of Commuter Connections. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.